Oh, baby. Oh, silly little dog. Hi there, it's Craig here. This is my dog Daisy. She's a Pomeranian Chihuahua, or a Pomchi, and she's 4 years old. And I think she's shy, aren't you, baby? But she's a good girl. Yeah. She's a good doggy. Baby girl. Okay, here we go. Anyways, the reason for this video today is that I want to introduce you to a beer that actually my wife initially went to the liquor store and just bought this for me without me really knowing. You know, she just went and got some beers for me, and this was one of them. We're talking a couple years ago now, and it blew my mind. And I've introduced it to some people since then, and it blew their mind as well. So I'll just grab it here. It's a St. Peter's Winter Ale. Hope you can see that. Now, St. Peter's has a lot of different versions of their beer, but this is the Winter Ale. If you can find this, all their beers are really good, but this is it's the epitome of beer. Like if once you taste this, you'll never look at beer the same again. I swear to God. It's so over the top. It's made in England, so you guys over there should be able to find this fairly easily. They've got, like I said, the different colored labels with the different types, but this one's got the orange label. It's the Winter Ale, and basically it's, you know, once you taste this, you will have a different perspective on what beer really should taste like. This is beer. I mean, if I could make beer like this, I'd be in big trouble. Okay, so now I've tasted it, of course, so this is not a taste test per se, although I just want to enjoy this, share this with you guys and tell you how good it is and give you some insights on the flavor. Daisy doesn't like beer, do you, baby? It puts her to sleep, so she doesn't like it. No. All right. Now this is the dark ale. I've got a St. Peter's glass that I'm pouring it into, actually, which a friend of mine bought me. He bought me a kit full of different St. Peter's beers that came with the glass too. And I think we're in trouble. That's okay. We'll pour the rest in a minute. Hey, you want some? Hey, pee-pee? Anyway, not really going to go on much about it. I'm just going to taste it, and I'm going to go through my whole ritual, which is basically disbelief that a beer could actually taste this good. Oh. I can't really. Oh man. Life is good. It really is. When you got one of these in your hand, I'm telling you right now, life is good. All the troubles disappear when you've got a St. Peter's Winter Ale in your hand. I'm not affiliated with St. Peter's, by the way, at all. This is not a paid advertisement or anything like that. I did not get this for free. Although maybe I will after this video, but it's just because I like it so much, and for all you guys who, you know, are getting into home brewing, or just, you know, who enjoy beer in general, this is a must. Like, it's a blockbuster. It's absolutely, it's the best beer I've ever tasted. It's the best. It just has like a sort of I don't know, a very chocolatey kind of flavor. But it's not like a heavy beer. It's not a very, it's a bit of a big beer. It's a more of a bottom level beer, but it's not like a stout. But it's just, it's a warm winter beer, 6.5% alcohol. It's one of those things that, you know, in the wintertime, you need a nice cozy beer to keep you warm. This is the one. So that's that. Now, there's another one you want to try too. I'm not going to open this right now because I'm going to save it till later when I'm sitting here and having a pipe. But this is a double chocolate stout by Young's. Young's double chocolate stout. See the purple label and so forth. All right. You know, if you can't find the St. Peter's Winter Ale, then you want to look for this. And even if you can find the St. Peter's Winter Ale, you still want to look for this. This is a really nice stout. Very inviting, very chocolatey. And again, you know, an unbelievable experience. So these are my two favorite beers in the whole world. There's nothing touches these. I don't care what you do with your all grain or whatever you do, nothing will touch these, and I would dare anybody to try. I'm just gonna put that over. Way. You can see this here. Now, before I end the video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about a question I got asked. And you know what? I think I've covered this before, but I'm going to cover it again because, you know, it is a debate that's going on. Okay, baby? You silly little dog. And it's like the debate on, you know, whether you should rehydrate your yeast or not, or whether, you know, all grain versus extract. Although I think that's not really a debate; it's just a preference. But it's single stage fermentation versus dual stage. So for those of you who don't know, and I think most of you do, but there might be a couple of new brewers here. Single stage fermentation is basically you put your stuff in your brew bucket, you ferment it, and you bottle it after about a week. A week's 10 days. And that's it. You got your beer in your bottles, you wait for it to carbonate, you drink it. That's basically the way I do it. And I have good results with that. Oops. Sorry, baby. I have good results with that. And I'm happy with it. It's quick, it's easy, and I'm happy with it. It's not a problem for me. The dual stage method is basically you start out the same way, but instead of letting it ferment for 7 to 10 days, you let it ferment for maybe 5 days, and then you transfer it into a carboy. And you want to make sure when you transfer it into a carboy that it's still in the fermentation process, because once you get it into the carboy, you want the airspace at the top of the carboy to fill up with CO2, and that will protect your beer from oxidation. And the shape of the carboy, because it's thin, the beer sitting at the top, there's very little air space there, so it can basically sit there for, man, weeks, even months, I guess, and age. But there's a catch to that, and I'll get to that in a minute. You wouldn't want to do a primary fermentation, like a single stage fermentation in a carboy, because there's not enough room for that foam and everything to take place. You'll get a huge blowout, unless you have a very large carboy, and then you're okay. But a 5-gallon carboy, you shouldn't brew in that. You won't have enough room for all the bubbles and stuff. If you are planning on bottling your brew and carbonating your beer in the bottles, then this is my opinion, you don't want to leave it in the secondary fermentation for too long. Because I've done this several times, and it's the same thing every single time I do it. It takes forever to carbonate in the bottles. The reason for that is, as it sits in the carboy, and it sits and sits and sits, all the sediment, all the yeast, and everything sinks down to the bottom of the carboy and settles down in there. Then when you bottle it, there's hardly any yeast left in the beer that you're bottling, so that when you put your priming sugar in there, it's like there's like hardly any yeast in there to ferment, so your carbonation is going to take forever. And the Canadian red beer that I did just that. It took too long, man. It was like, wow, this is weeks and weeks. Like, you know, the next time I do that type of beer, I'm not going to do dual stage because, you know, I just don't want to wait that long. We'll see how, if it tastes any better or worse or whatever. It'll be an experiment. But anyway, so single stage versus dual stage. If you're kegging your beer, in other words, if you're putting your beer into a keg and force carbonating it with CO2, then dual stage is definitely the way to go. Absolutely. Because, you know, your beer sat in that carboy for 2 weeks or whatever. It aged, it settled, it cleared, and now you're putting it into a keg and you're force carbonating it, and in a couple of days or whatever, however long it takes, you've got carbonated beer that's clear and ready to drink. In that particular case, absolutely. I highly recommend, in fact, I think it's mandatory that if you're doing kegging, you must dual stage ferment your beer. So if you're, again, so just to sum up, if you're fermenting, if you're carbonating in the bottles, I wouldn't do a dual stage. If you're kegging, which I think you should try, I may try it one day. I may, if I can get a hold of a keg for cheap. If you're doing that, then dual stage is favorable because some people say that it helps the flavor of the beer as it sits there and all the yeast sinks out of it and clears out. Okay, so that's it. Daisy's falling asleep on me here. Thanks for watching. Take care. More brewing videos coming up. See you guys later. Bye. What the hell? Who the hell are you? Who are you? You're wearing my hat. A nice shirt, by the way. Where'd you get that shirt? It's terrible. I don't think so.